Hey everyone, welcome back. David in History for the Ages here. So I thought I'd do something fun here. History of Hanukkah, right? As it says here, they tried to kill us, they failed, let's eat. That's kind of a running joke of many Jewish holidays, whether you're talking about Purim or Passover, right? It seems like many civilizations have tried to destroy the Jewish people, and yet we're still here. And so Hanukkah is, of course, this year that I'm recording it happens to be the first night of Hanukkah is on Christmas, which is not always the case, right? Hanukkah kind of fluctuates anywhere from theoretically late November to even maybe early January, but usually it's kind of in early December. And the reason it changes every year is because the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar. So it kind of shifts and then shifts back as they add the extra month every 4 years. So I want to give you a quick little history of Hanukkah. I have another video explaining like all the Jewish holidays in 5 minutes. But if you want a little more detailed on Hanukkah, here it is. And I'll also leave some links in the description if you want even a deeper dive into the holiday than what I'm going to give you here. So, first of all, why is it sometimes spelled like with a CH and it's not pronounced Chanukah? In Hebrew, there's that ch sound, which is that hard H sound that we don't have in the English language. And so that CH that you see there in the spelling sometimes is supposed to tell people to pronounce it ch, like Hanukkah. So it's not Hanukkah, it's Hanukkah. So just people will be aware of that. And the history, of course, goes back to ancient times, as many of the Jewish holidays do, because back in the ancient time, we had, of course, the story of Alexander the Great. Everyone's heard of Alexander, who conquered the land of Judea, modern day Israel. This was around 330 BC. And the Jewish people had been living there for a long time. And if you study, and I really encourage you to watch my entire playlist on the history of Israel, because you would know the Jewish people living there for a long time, different civilization came in, try to colonize, try to take it over. And as the Jewish people were living there, depending on which civilizations came in, some treated the Jewish people better, some treated them worse. Well, we get to 175 BC, and this ruler of Judea now, a man named Antiochus IV, the Seleucid Greek, did not treat the Jewish people well at all. He massacred the Jewish people. He prohibited the practice of Jewish religion. And of course, he desecrated the temple by sacrificing pigs. And if you know anything about Jewish culture, of course, pigs are, not kosher at all. It's like the least kosher thing in the Jewish faith. And so he was obviously doing all these things to hurt the Jewish people there. And so the Jewish people get fed up with it, being persecuted there in their own homeland. And so a man named Judah the Maccabee leads a revolt, and it's around 167 BC, leads this revolt, which was successful. They retake the temple. Now, from this, of course, you get the story of Hanukkah lasting 8 days. Where does that come from? So, of course, there's the story of the miracle that a lot of people have heard that there was enough oil for one day, and from that oil, lasted for 8 days, and that's kind of the miracle element of it, the faith element of the religion, of course, where you celebrate it for 8 days. There is also some other thought that it may have been needed 8 days for the soldiers to be purified after contact with the dead on the battlefield. And so there's some different interpretations of how we get to 8 days, but definitely the oil story is the one that's the most famous. And the oil story is also, the cornerstone of how Hanukkah is observed to this day. So how is it observed? Well, one of the things, of course, you do is you light the Chanukiah, which is, you can see here, image of one where it's got 8 candles and then a ninth. Now, the ninth is what we call the shamash or servant, and it's always a different height than the other ones, and that's the one you use to light the other candles. So each night you add a candle, and again, I'll leave a link in the description where you can even learn that, like, the order you're supposed to light the candles in and how it's all done, if you really want to kind of more detailed on it. But you light the candle each night. You light one, and then you say the prayer. You sing some songs, and then of course you eat yummy food, right? And so pretty much every Jewish tradition holiday, other than Yom Kippur, which you're supposed to fast, that's of course a very somber holiday. But a lot of these other holidays, you eat. And so why do you eat what you eat? Because it's food fried in oil, right? Commemorating and remembering the oil that was used back in the ancient times. So latkes, you can see in here an image of a latke, which of course is fried potato pancakes, I guess the best way to describe it, which are absolutely delicious. They're a bit of pain to make. They take a while to make. You literally have to squeeze you shred the potatoes, squeeze them. Oh, I should do a whole video on how to make latkes. That would be fun. You can go with the how to make them the shakshuka video I have if you've never seen that. That's a lot of fun too. But those are good. And sufganiyot, which are just donuts. You can see that on the bottom there image. And so things fried in oil is what we traditionally eat. Another thing that's very traditional to observe Hanukkah is the dreidel game that a lot of kids play. And so if you look at a dreidel, it's got four sides and it's got a letter, a Hebrew letter on each side. Nun, Gimel, He, Shin. And they stand for words. Nes, Gadol, Haya, Sham. And that translates to Nes means miracle, Gadol means big, Haya, there was, Sham, there. So the whole thing together was a big miracle that happened there. In Israel, you might see one that says a big miracle that happened here, Nes Gadol Haya Po. And so a big miracle that happened there, referring to the events back in ancient times. And so you spin the dreidel, and depending on which letter you get, you either put chocolates into the center, or you take chocolates out, you take half, you take all of it. And again, it's a fun little game. I can leave a link in the description as well here in terms if you want to know how to play it. It's pretty easy. Kids love it, of course. Now, one thing that isn't part of Hanukkah is gift giving. It's just this thing in the West, a lot of Jewish families do it, especially in the United States, because Hanukkah does often fall around Christmas time. It's not always, usually tends to be a little bit before, sometimes right after, sometimes right before. And so because, Jewish families in the United States are like, well, I don't want my kid to be left out, we'll give him Hanukkah presents. But this is not something that's really traditionally done. It's also not a holiday where you kind of take the week off work or take the week off school generally. It's not like at the level of Yom Kippur or Passover or Rosh Hashanah, right? It's an important holiday, but I think it's very popular in the West because it does happen to fall around Christmas time. There are a lot of other Jewish holidays that are considered much more observant, much more significant. Again, I have a whole video explaining like all the Jewish holidays in 5 minutes, which is like a really brief but really good. It's one of my more popular videos. I'll leave the link here. You could watch that as well. But hopefully that gives you a little summary of Hanukkah. I tried to kind of wanted to keep it a little bit short, not too long, but to give you an idea of the holiday and how it will be used and some of the fun traditions that are part of the Hanukkah celebration. It is fun if you ever get a chance to go and visit a home where they do it, sing the song. Sometimes in a lot of Western cultures, they light the Hanukkah. There's some really big ones that are lit, and there's a lot of fun people do it. They sing, they dance, so it's all kind of fun. It's part of the holiday that a lot of people enjoy. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed watching that. Thank you for watching. Everyone have a great day and happy learning, everyone.